All right, so I want to start today with a little, I guess you could call it a Rorschach test for your ears. I'm going to say a word, and I want you to just notice the very first image that pops into your head. Don't think about it. The word is gluttony.
Oh, that's easy. For me, it's a medieval banquet.
Totally.
You know, that classic Henry VIII image, holding a giant turkey leg, grease everywhere, wine, just total physical excess.
Exactly. That is the archetype, isn't it? The fat cat who feels so archaic, like a sin from a time when calories were rare.
Right.
But today we're diving into a source, 12 Deadly Sins, Part 6, and honestly, it just completely dismantles that turkey leg image for me.
It really does. It reframes the whole. If you walk away with one thing from this deep dive, it's that gluttony isn't really about food, or not just about food.
It's a state of mind.
It's a psychological state. Yeah.
And the definition the source gives is just, wow, it hits you right between the eyes. It says gluttony is when consumption replaces regulation.
That's the core of it. Excess without awareness. It's like flipping an override switch.
Which means you can be gluttonous about, well, pretty much anything. It's not just about Thanksgiving dinner anymore. We're talking about, the way we live our lives.
Precisely. And before we get into what we're consuming, because the source has a very modern, very confronting list, I think it's important to be clear on what gluttony is not.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think a lot of us have this built-in guilt, like enjoying anything is somehow bad.
Totally. Like if I really enjoy a great meal or I binge a few episodes of a show I love on a Saturday, is that gluttony? Is pleasure the enemy?
And the source is very clear. No. Hunger is natural. Pleasure is natural. Enjoyment isn't the problem.
Okay.
The problem is the override of those natural signals. It's when the consumption gets disconnected from what your body or your mind actually needs.
So it's not the burger, it's the 10th burger when you were full after the first one.
Exactly. It's the inability to hear the signal that says, hey, stop. You're just pushing past utility into the realm of numbing.
Okay, so let's expand the menu. Because if gluttony is just consumption replacing regulation, then, wow, the modern world is an all-you-can-eat buffet.
It really is.
The source lists a bunch of things, and I have to say, a few of them made me feel a little called out.
It's a confronting list. Yeah. It really shifts the focus from the stomach to the brain. The text mentions media, attention, validation, stimulation, shopping.
And even drama.
Even drama.
The drama one really stood out to me. The idea that you can be gluttonous for conflict. That feels so counterintuitive. Why would anyone want to consume conflict?
Well, think about what it does to you physically. What happens when you get into an argument? Or even just watch one unfold online?
Your heart rate goes up. You get that tunnel vision.
Right. It's a spike.
Yeah.
Adrenaline, cortisol, hyperfocus. Do you know people who are just scrolling, almost looking for something to be outraged about?
Oh, absolutely.
Or maybe they'll dig up an old argument with a partner just to feel something.
Wow. Yeah. It's not about solving anything. It's about the hit.
It's consumption. You're consuming emotional intensity because silence feels too empty. You're gluttonous for the chemicals your own brain makes under stress.
And validation was another one. We see this constantly on social media. You post a photo, and then what?
You check your phone.
30 seconds later, you check it again.
And again, you're feeding on the notifications.
Yeah.
It is a kind of hunger. But, and this is the key point the source makes, what are you actually hungry for? It's not the little digital heart icon.
And this gets us to the root cause. At its core, the source says gluttony is really about avoidance.
Yes. This is the big pivot. We don't overconsume because we love the thing so much. Nobody scrolls TikTok for 4 hours because the content is just that profound.
Right.
We consume to avoid feeling something else. Emptiness, boredom, grief, anxiety, you name it.
So consumption is a buffer.
A buffer, yeah. Think about it. It creates a space between two things, like a shock absorber. You're putting a layer of food or noise or shopping between you and an uncomfortable feeling.
That is so painfully relatable. I've had those days where I'm anxious about something, and instead of dealing with it, I just open an app and scroll. I'm buffering.
You're buffering. You're filling your conscious mind with noise so the anxiety can't get through. But here's the crucial insight. Buffers do not resolve the imbalance. They just postpone it.
Right. The deadline is still there. The anxiety is waiting for you when you put the phone down.
And it's often worse because now you have this added layer of, brain fog from scrolling or guilt or a stomach ache all piled on top of the original problem. You've just compounded the debt.
So let's talk about what this constant buffering does to our systems, because the source uses a strong word. It says gluttony is deadly because it dulls our sensitivity.
This is the physiology of it. Our bodies, our minds, they're all built on these really delicate feedback loops. They're designed to tell us when we're hungry, when we're tired, and this is the important one, when we're full. That signal is called satiety.
Satiety, that feeling of, I've had enough.
Exactly. But think about how our senses work. If you walk into a room with a loud, buzzing fluorescent light, at first it's all you can hear. But after an hour,
You don't even notice it. Your brain just tunes it out.
right, it's sensory adaptation. And when you are constantly overstimulating your system with sugar, with dopamine hits from a screen, with the adrenaline of drama, those subtle signals of enough just get drowned out, you raise the threshold.
The source says, enoughness becomes unfamiliar. That is such a haunting phrase.
It is. Enoughness becomes unfamiliar. You literally forget what it feels like to be satisfied. Your body might be screaming stop, but your mind has just overridden the connection. You can't hear the signal over the noise.
And this disrupts our natural rhythms, doesn't it? The text talks about how everything in nature runs on cycles.
Yes. Hunger and fullness.
What?
Effort and rest.
Awake and asleep.
And this one, which I think is maybe the most important for our time, input and integration.
Ooh, okay, let's unpack that. Input versus integration. Because I think I am so guilty of this one. I think a lot of people listening probably are too.
We are obsessed with input. We listen to podcasts on 2x speed. We watch the news while we eat. We scroll social media while we're on a work call. That is all input. We're just shoveling data into our brains.
But the system needs integration.
It needs time to process, to digest, to make sense of it. Think of it like your actual digestive system. If you just inhale a 10-course meal in 5 minutes, you can't digest it. It just sits there making you sick.
So we're basically giving ourselves information indigestion.
Exactly. The text says excess input without integration creates overload. And the results are all the things we feel every day. Fatigue, dependency, reduced impulse control.
And decreased satisfaction.
Decreased satisfaction. That reduced impulse control is a big one. If your brain is just fried from overload, you don't have the mental energy to say no to the next shiny distraction.
It becomes a loop.
Right. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of you that makes smart decisions, is just exhausted, goes offline. And then you're left with a lizard brain just screaming, more clicks, more sugar.
And that leads us perfectly into what the source calls the paradox of gluttony.
I do love a good paradox.
The paradox is that more consumption often produces less pleasure.
This is the law of diminishing returns, but applied to our emotions.
Walk me through that.
Okay, take a cookie. The first cookie is amazing. Big dopamine spike. The second one is pretty good. The third one is fine.
Just kind of eating it.
Right. By the 10th one, you feel sick. You aren't even tasting it. You're actually getting negative pleasure from it.
Or like binge watching a show. The first couple of hours are great. By hour 5, your eyes hurt, you feel kind of gross, but you just keep clicking next episode. Why? Why do we do that if it stopped being fun?
Because the intensity has to keep increasing to get the same effect. That's how compulsion is built. You need louder drama, sweeter food, faster videos, just to feel that baseline of, okay, you're not chasing a high anymore. You're just trying not to feel low.
So functionally, gluttony kills our ability to feel satisfied. It destroys the very thing we're looking for.
That's why the source calls it deadly. It's not about hellfire. It's about the death of your capacity for joy. If you numb yourself to the bad feelings, you also inevitably numb yourself to the good ones. You just flatten your whole experience.
Wow, okay, that is heavy. And I feel like pretty much everyone listening can probably see themselves in some version of this, but the source does give us a way out.
It does.
And it starts, maybe surprisingly, with what not to do.
Yes. This is so important. If you try to fix this the wrong way, you make it so much worse. The text says it very explicitly. Gluttony is not solved through shame.
Which is completely the opposite of our first instinct, right? If I waste 3 hours scrolling, my immediate reaction is to beat myself up. You're so lazy, you have no self-control.
And let me ask you, does that actually work? Does that voice make you stop doing it next time?
Honestly, no. It makes me feel terrible, and then I usually go do the exact same thing again to stop feeling terrible.
Exactly. Shame creates emotional pain.
Yeah.
It creates anxiety. And what do we just learn that we do when we feel pain and anxiety?
You buffer.
We consume to numb the shame.
Oh, it's a trap. Shame actually feeds the cycle.
It's the fuel. So if shame isn't the answer, what is? The source says the antidote is awareness.
Awareness. It sounds so simple, almost too simple. What does that actually look like? Because just be aware can feel a little bit like just be happy.
It's more specific than that. It's about catching yourself in the act. It's moving from autopilot to pilot. It's being aware of your triggers. Aware of your emotional state before you start consuming.
It's asking the question.
It's asking, am I reaching for my phone because I actually need something or because I just felt a wave of loneliness? It's learning to tell the difference between a want and a need.
And that awareness then lets you move to the next step, which is regulation.
Right. Regulation is the tool you use to restore the balance. The source mentions a few ways. The first is just pausing before you act.
That pause.
That pauses everything. In some psychological fields, they call it the sacred pause. It breaks the automatic loop. It creates a space between the stimulus and your reaction.
And what do you do in that space?
You allow the discomfort to exist, just for a second.
Allowing discomfort to exist briefly. That sounds, well, uncomfortable.
It is. That's why we buffer. But
Okay.
it's necessary. It's like if you feel bored, just be bored for 30 seconds. Don't immediately kill it with your phone. If you feel a pang of sadness, just sit with it.
Because if you let it exist, you realize it's not going to kill you.
Exactly. You realize, okay, I feel anxious. I'm still here. I'm still breathing. You prove to your brain that you don't need the buffer to survive. You build tolerance. And that leads to the last part of regulation, choosing proportion.
Proportion. And this is where it gets kind of optimistic because the source is very clear. Enjoyment is good. This isn't about becoming a monk.
Not at all. It says enjoyment becomes sustainable when it is intentional. It's the difference between savoring a glass of wine and chugging the bottle to forget your day.
So instead of shoveling food in your mouth while you're driving, you sit down and eat slowly.
Right. You honor it.
Instead of doom scrolling until you pass out, you rest without screens. That was a big call out in the text.
Which is so hard for us now. We think watching Netflix is rest. But neurologically, it's still input. True rest, that integration we talked about, it requires low stimulation. A walk, a nap, just staring out the window.
And stopping before discomfort sets in, which means you have to be listening for those quiet signals again.
You do.
Yeah.
You have to resensitize yourself. You have to turn down the noise so you can hear the whisper. The source puts it so well. The lesson of gluttony is not deprivation. It is proportion.
I love that. It frames it as a positive goal. It's about alignment.
Consumption aligned with your capacity. Pleasure aligned with your health. Input aligned with your ability to integrate. It's just restoring the natural rhythm of the system.
It paints a picture of a mind or a body that isn't so frantic anymore.
Yes. The text says when the system trusts that there will be enough, it stops grabbing.
It stops grabbing. That is such a perfect image for what gluttony feels like, that desperate, frantic grabbing.
And we're usually grabbing for a substitute. We're starved for connection or peace, so we grab for sugar or likes. When we actually give ourselves the real thing, the urge to grab the fake thing starts to fade.
And when you stop grabbing, you restore rhythm. And as the source says, enoughness restores rhythm. And rhythm restores balance.
That's the whole goal. Balance.
Mm.
Not perfection, not deprivation, just balance.
So we've gone from medieval feasts to our iPhones, from avoidance to awareness.
It's a journey from mindless numbing to mindful living.
Before we sign off, we want to leave you with something to actually try, a little experiment.
We've talked a lot about the buffer, that thing you use to push away the silence.
So here's the challenge. First, identify your buffer of choice. Maybe it's a snack, maybe it's Instagram, maybe it's online shopping.
And then just try to stop consuming it for 1 hour when you would normally reach for it. When that urge hits, just press pause.
And here is the question to carry with you during that hour. If you stop consuming your buffer, what underlying feeling are you actually trying to avoid?
Is it boredom? Is it loneliness? Is it just that low-grade hum of anxiety?
Whatever it is, just face it for a moment. See what happens when you don't numb it. You might just find out you're stronger than you think.
And that the enoughness you were looking for was already there.
Hmm.
You just needed to be quiet enough to feel it.
That's it for this deep dive. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time.
Take care.